Hey, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show. I told you a few weeks back that I'm going to have a couple guests on the Greg McAfee Show who are very well known in the trades. So I am thrilled today to have Ken Goodrich and Tommy Mello, who have both made incredible strides, not only in business, but in their personal fitness journeys. So together, we're going to dive into the stories, the challenges that we overcome, and the strategies that have driven their success. And you won't want to miss this one. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Okay, so I am here with Tommy Mello, and we're going to be talking today about peak performance entrepreneurs. As you guys know, I've lost 100 pounds within 9 months, and hopefully have inspired a lot of you to get in better shape. I was out of shape for a long time, too long. And I've got Tommy here, and Tommy, I know, let's go ahead and have you introduce yourself. I know a lot of these guys know you or know of you, but maybe they don't know exactly what you do. Can you go ahead and share that with us?
Yeah. Hey, Greg, it's a pleasure to be here. I started A1 Garage Door Service right before the Great Recession. So 2007, I got into the home service business. I had a landscaping company prior to that, but it was relatively small. I got it to 30,000 a month. And, made a lot of mistakes along the way. In the garage door business, I've worked with a lot of family. I've had to separate with best friends. I've had 6 guys pass away, not on the job, but people that I was close with. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong. But thankfully, I didn't make the same mistakes over and over again. I met really good mentors, like Ken Goodrich, Ken Haynes, Leland Smith, Tom Howard, Keegan Hodges. And then I started working with a guy named Al Levy, and he's a great, great guy. Really helped me out a lot. Alan Rohr helped me. I've just had a lot of help, and got onto Service Titan about 8 years ago. That was a game changer. And, hopefully this year we do right around, the goal is 275 million, but I used to be really proud of our revenue. Now I'm proud of our profit, which is 24.7%. So that old saying, what is it? Revenue is for vanity, profit is for sanity.
Absolutely.
But that's it. And then, this year I got really serious about my fitness and my faith. And, it's incredible. It's absolutely phenomenal how I feel and how focused I am.
That's good to hear. Yeah, personally, I've been a Christian for about 36 years. I was a mess, and I've talked about this several times on here. But if it weren't for God and my faith, there would have been no way I could lose 100 pounds in 6 months at 60 years old. But let's talk about you. They've heard enough about me, and we're actually expecting Ken Goodrich to jump on here anytime. But in the meantime, what caused you to choose to get in better shape? I don't know how out of shape you were and how long, but what caused you to get in better shape?
Yeah, so I've had a trainer for quite a long time, but I never pushed myself in the gym, and I didn't realize how much nutrition and supplementation had to do with it. So my cousin had called me about a year ago, and she said, Tommy, I'm really proud of you. Your books that you're writing, the stages you're talking on, you're a success at every level. But she's like, do you mind doing me a favor? I was like, yeah, anything. What do you need? She's like, can you go in the mirror and take off your shirt? And I'm like, what are we doing here? And she's like, I'm not so sure you love yourself. And I said, what does that even mean? And she said, you don't look like you're healthy. You don't look like you're sleeping enough. You're not drinking enough water. It seems like the alcohol's gotten the better hand of you at times. So I did that, and she was right. And I had every excuse in the world, right? I said, I just don't have the time, and you don't know what it's like to be on the road like I am. And I think the first thing is admitting you've got a problem. And it wasn't like grossly overweight, but I was 26%. A quarter of me was fat. And I knew I could be better. I knew I could be. So Andy Elliott had talked to me and said, dude, you got to take care of yourself. I was with Travis Ringy in Idaho, and I watched the sacrifice. He was not drinking anything at all, and he's in great shape. And my other cousin called me and said, hey, dude, I got high cholesterol. I got this, I got this, I got this. And he got into great shape. And so it was like every angle was telling me, you got to start caring about yourself and getting into much better shape.
How long ago was that?
That was about a year ago. And then I got super serious in May, like to the point where every meal I have is planned. Like I'm counting my macros. I'm making sure I'm getting over a gallon of water a day. I'm monitoring my sleep. And the two big breakthroughs were probably this Aura ring to help me keep track of stuff, and then going to get the DEXA scan every month.
Mm-hmm.
That I know where the fat is at, the visceral fat. It helps me know what to work out. And then another big one was Bree, my girlfriend, which soon to be probably fiance here, but she went and got the DEXA scan and called me up crying. She said, I need to make some changes. And so with her in my corner and me in her corner, we were able to go a lot further together because we chose to do it. And that was a big stepping block for us. And that was in May. And she's lost 55 pounds. I didn't lose a lot of weight. I just lost all the body fat. I just moved the fat to muscle.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to me. And when I got down to the last 10 to 15 pounds, it became very difficult because my goal was to lose 100 pounds. I figured out that only 1% of Americans can lose 100 pounds within that time period that I had, 6 months. And I always like to be in the 1%. So when I went to the cardiologist and I had gained 7 pounds because I had a quintuple bypass in 2021, totally unexpected, felt good, could do 20 to 30 minutes on the elliptical, no problem. One day I started having upper right chest pains, very cold kind of pains. I was taking care of 2 elderly parents, extremely stressful. My stepmom called me 100 times a day. And everything I Googled and read about, if it dissipates its stress, well, it would dissipate. It'd go away for hours. And then something would happen and it'd come back. And I just thought it was stress. And after about 5 days, I came in my office one Saturday morning and couldn't lift my arms to type. So I called my wife and drove myself to the closest hospital. And the first 3 tests they did were negative. And if they would have sent me home right there, I'd be dead. The 4th test, they checked the enzymes in my blood. They were elevated. So the doctor at the hospital said, you're either having a heart attack or you already had one. And I was like, what? And so they did a heart scan where they go through your veins and put a dye all around your heart. And the doctor that did that was a customer of ours. So the whole time I'm laying on this table with nothing but a little towel over me, he's talking about his furnace and air conditioner. And then all of a sudden I hear him say, well, this is going to have to be surgically repaired. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your widowmaker is 99% blocked. Your right coronary artery, second main artery, 99% blocked. And so the next thing I know, the next morning, 5 a.m., I had a quintuple bypass. So you would think that would be enough, though, to motivate someone like us to go, hey, we got a problem. We got to lose weight, because I was 100 pounds overweight easily. And so I lost about 40 pounds. But what happened, I gained 30 of it back. I go to the cardiologist for a regular checkup. I was on 6 meds. And I asked him randomly, I said, if I lose a lot of weight, can I get off these meds? And he basically kind of laughed. looked at me, looked at my weight. I had gained 7 pounds since I was in there the last 6 months. Well, that got me. I'm like, game on. So I called my wife on the way home. I said, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm losing 100 pounds. And I stuck with it. And I was about 32% body fat, my first test. And I was down when I had it done a couple months ago, I was 15 and a half. So I've worked my butt off and I still am, for 6 months. I just killed it in every possible. I had a 10-step process on how I did it, but I feel so good. I sleep better. I'm sharper. I'm off all 6 meds. And here comes Ken. I'm off all 6 meds, and which one of them was a statin drug. And there's nothing good about statin drugs. And I'm off all 6 meds, and I just feel good. Feel so much better. And it's stuck for the last 3 months. So it's going to continue to stick too, because I'm just passionate about being healthier now. And that's why we're having this podcast. Welcome, Ken Goodrich. Welcome to the show.
Sorry, guys. I was out walking and I'm thinking, and for some reason I thought it was Sunday. My first senior moment.
Yeah, that's funny. So we're talking about, we just got started, and Tommy told us a little bit about himself and what he's been doing health-wise and faith-wise. Most of the people on this, watching this, listening to this, know you, but why don't you give us a little update on you, who you are, and what you've done health-wise in the last couple of years.
Okay, well, my name is Ken Goodrich, and I have been in the home service industry, most specifically in the HVAC and plumbing industry, starting way back about 52 years ago when I started holding the flashlight for my dad while he worked on an air conditioner. And so, I've kind of grew up in the industry, spending every night, weekend, and all summer long in the hot summers of Las Vegas, side by side with him in his truck. And I learned the trade. And then over the course of time, started running a service truck at 16. As soon as I got my driver's license, and, kind of learned the business a bit, and, went to a little college, and then my dad unfortunately passed away at a pretty young age. So I was about 25, and I bought the family business from my mom, and went off and decided I was going to grow it, be a big entrepreneur, and drive fancy cars and wear fancy clothes and be fancy. And then, as soon as you get into business, I think most of the listeners can probably agree with, once you get in business and you understand that you have a trade, some means to create a revenue source, you figure out very quickly that you don't know how to run a business, that it's a whole different animal. And you go out and struggle and seek out ways to figure out how to run a business, which is a lot different than the trade you do. And so through those trials and tribulations, I figured it out, and I figured out a system, and I started growing my company and then acquiring other companies. And because I had struggled at one time and fixed my own business, I started buying troubled businesses because they were easy for me, because I had kind of gained that knowledge from doing my own, and kind of got in the niche of buying challenged or smaller businesses that were underperforming and putting them together and growing them, and have kind of eventually gotten the world of starting to sell them to PE back in the start of the mid 90s. And after that, I kind of really liked that whole concept, buying struggling companies, doing something that nobody else could do, figuring out a business, creating brands, assembling them, integrating them, scaling them, and then selling them. And so over the course of my career, I've had 6 large transactions to private equity, and I don't know how many anymore, right? Maybe over 30 branch locations, so 30 particular businesses that I had bought, built, and packaged up like that. And so currently, the last HVAC business that we built and sold is called Gettle, Goettl, Air Conditioning and Plumbing, out of Las Vegas, and covers the Southwest USA, of which I'm the acting chairman of the board today. And my team and I are now working on rolling up the standby generator industry on the Gulf Coast states. Currently have 3 locations. Our first year of business in Dallas, Houston, and Tampa. So, throughout that journey, that's the abbreviated timeline, but trying to figure out how to run a business and make it work. And, for those of us who are in it, we kind of understand that, our tendency is to get really into it. It kind of consumes you if you're not careful. And, that consumption leads you to not focus on other areas of your life, and more specifically, your health. In my particular case, my health, meaning that, I'm traveling a lot, I'm buying and selling companies, I'm going to the big gut bomb dinners, I'm not spending any time exercising at all. And over time, and with the stress, I woke up one day and I was about 333 pounds, I think it was. I got up to that high. And so, and I felt terrible. And so come along about 2020. It was August of 2020. I was sitting up at night about 2 o'clock in the morning, watching TV, maybe snacking, drinking a glass of wine or something. And something just came over me, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I felt that bad. I just felt crappy. I didn't have any particular pain, but I just felt bad. And so I'm thinking about it, kind of scared me. And, I had been seeing this guy on Facebook, kind of had a mohawk, kind of a big muscle guy. And he's talking about businessmen neglecting their family, neglecting their health, drinking too much, And I wouldn't say that I had a drinking problem. I just, drank a lot of wine, which at night, which kind of
Full of sugar.
added to the calories and the sugar and the fat, right? So anyway, I grabbed my cell phone, I looked him up on Facebook, which is something I never have done. I've never bought anything off of really online to actually, because I got people, but the certainly a Facebook thing like that. But what it was like a little course. And so I went ahead and I said, okay, I have to take a left turn in life. And this is kind of how I've fixed these businesses, right? I'll take a business that's heading one direction and I'll just turn it on a dime one day and rally the team around the new direction, and kind of let go of all the past, just kind of abruptly do it, because in my it's my experience that if you move too slow, you can die of 1,000 paper cuts. Just the time alone and the anguish and drama kills you. So I did the same thing. I took a left turn and I pulled out my credit card and I ordered this course, $5,000. And so, the course was good, solid fundamentals of living, right? So it's getting up every morning and meditating a little bit, journaling, setting some goals, kind of writing down your every single day, reaffirming your your short-term goals, your long-term goals, journaling some concerns that you have out, and then doing some exercise, kind of get your day started. And then some fundamental guidance on the 7 areas of life you should focus on. So it was a 6-week program. I just bit the bullet and did it. Really wasn't a thing that I would typically do. But again, it was my left turn. How am I going to break this pattern that I had created over a long period of time of, you know, just waking up every day early, throwing on my clothes and jetting out the office and getting in the firefight at work and just almost craving the stress and then neglecting myself at night. So I did the course, and over time I started I lost some weight, right? And then COVID hit. And so I was out in Scottsdale. I have a place there. And so I stayed in Scottsdale and I started walking. I would do the course every morning. I would listen to the material while I was walking. And then I started conducting all my business meetings, my morning huddles, my, particular department meetings, department head meetings, kind of my roundtable meetings. Sometimes I'd jump in our couple of week GM meetings and just kind of conduct business through my cell phone and some headphones walking in the Arizona desert. So I started losing weight. I started feeling better. My blood pressure came down. All this stuff started happening for me. And so I started setting some goals and decided that I was going to lose 100 pounds. And so I set it out. I made my monthly plan. I tracked it every single day, just like good business on sales or anything else. I had a goal, I had a plan, I tracked my performance, I made corrections um, to the plan if I was going off, and I just knocked it out. And I took off 100 pounds. And much like you, Greg, all of my health markers, my blood pressure, and all my my blood chemistry, things like that, all kind of came back in line, and I pulled myself together. And through that transformation, I actually became, I believe I became a better person. I wasn't as mean and just I wasn't so myopic in everything I did. I started to look around the world and notice there was other people and be a little more empathetic and kind of calm down. And I think it kind of changed my soul as well. So over the course of time, I kept walking and walking, and I started hitting the gym a bit and doing those sorts of things. Um, One way or the other, we came up with this group, The First Step with Ken Goodrich,
Mhm.
which is a Facebook group dedicated to the trades. You got to be a trades person or involved in it some way to get in the group. And all we do is kind of share these kind of stories. We post our walks, our hikes, our workouts, all our stuff kind of focused on the idea of entrepreneurial home service owners making sure that they take care of themselves so they can really execute their plans and be present and be the best version of themselves for their family. And so, that group supports that. And, we've got a meaningful amount of members that are out there contributing and, you know, and we have a lot of success stories. We have lots of guys like you, Greg, who've lost 100 pounds, completely transformed themselves into a different person, completely transformed their health. But we have many of them, many of these cases, 50 pounds, 25 pounds, 100 pounds, you know, lots of success stories. And it's just their tradespeople kind of helping each other survive, succeed, survive, and, be the best versions of themselves as leaders. And sometimes we talk a little business. And, selfishly, I would say that the reason why we have that group and the reason why um and the reason why I try to contribute to it daily is because it keeps me going. That's my thing that keeps me going and chipping away at my progress because I'm at the place there where I don't want to let anybody down in the group. Now that's more important to me. And last thing I'll say is, what my vision for the group has always been to let's get the whole industry involved. Let's let the call center girls walk or guys and girls walk around the building sometimes and create contests. And, let's let companies get represented from all the way down to the technicians and the technicians' families and the warehouse guy and the accounting people in the office and the marketing people all kind of, contributing through companies and have some sort of contest, or not really a contest, but it's just like a community of people helping each other, stay on track and stay healthy, uh, just as industry fellows. So there you go. That's my story.
Yeah, that's good stuff, because I think Tommy and I are both members of that Facebook page. Tommy, when for me, that Mohawk guy was James Clear, Atomic Habits. I read that book 4 times because I needed to change my bad habits and I needed to adopt new habits. And that book really helped me. What helped you, Tommy? What was some of the top couple things that really helped you on this journey of becoming healthier?
I had several people that were out of shape that I bet a lot of people 10 grand. And for me, I hate to lose a bet. It's not even about the money. It is and it's not. For me, it was like, and I wanted to declare it. So I put it all over the internet. I put it all over social media. And, a lot of these, the SMART goals, specific, meaningful, attainable, realistic, and on a timely basis. So this event I got coming up, I said, I got to get under 10%. And so I'm trying to get 20,000 steps a day. I'm just eating super healthy. I'm going into this fight or flight mode right now. I've got a couple weeks left. And that was the biggest thing, is having other people were sending each other pictures and screenshots of how many steps we walked and our macros that day. So I think doing it with people is a big deal. I think, and then accountability and consistency. And, my favorite new quote I heard recently was, everyone wants the view, but no one wants to take the hike. Whether it's business, whether it's getting a better body. And this other quote is, the more I work on me, the easier life becomes. It was my fault the whole time. And that's what Ken was talking about. I want to be a walking billboard. I want people to walk up to me and say, dude, you really take care of yourself. You love yourself. And I think that's important. And I didn't realize there was 168 hours in a week. I thought there was like 40 hours in a week. The way if you work 50, you sleep 50, you still got 70 hours.
Yeah.
So I can't use time anymore as an excuse. And that was probably the largest obstacle, is saying, no, I'm going to own my calendar and I'm going to make the time on the calendar to get this done. And I'm going to do it. Everything from sauna, cold plunge, cardio, getting a real workout in, like a real hard workout where I'm pushing myself for an entire hour.
Yeah. If there's 168 hours in a week and you only work 40 hours, you're only at 25%. But there was a lot of things. All 3 of us here can probably relate. We were always motivated, even overweight and unhealthy. We were always motivated. We came in probably early. We did what we had to do. We're killing it. But I was absolutely miserable doing it. And after losing probably 50 pounds, I felt so much better and I had more energy. And then when I hit the 100 mark, I mean, it's just, it's a different world. I weighed 202 pounds out of Marine Corps boot camp and I got down to 214. And, I actually went overboard. I had some health issues because I wasn't sleeping enough after I lost 100 pounds. I was only averaging, and this, I never thought I would own a Apple Watch because I collect watches. And, this is that, what'd you call that ring on your finger?
The aura.
Yeah. I mean, this is my aura. It tells everything, every step I take, how many hours of sleep, how much I breathe per night, my heart rate all night, all that stuff, which I've now studied and understand and track. But it just made all the difference in my life. And I love people coming up to my office door going, "Hey, I lost another 5 pounds. Hey, I lost another 4 pounds. Hey, I lost another 8 pounds." Because that's what it's all about. And we're doing a 5K run walk this weekend, and we have hundreds of people joining us in our area. And they know that I've lost weight and that I've become healthier, and everybody that follows me are, they're trying to do that. So the way we inspire people, we probably inspire more people than we could possibly imagine, because some people will never say anything. Some people will never like a post, but we influence them and we make a difference. So with that, what would you guys say were like how has it affected your leadership, maintaining better health, feeling better? What's that done for your leadership? Ken, go ahead.
So let me jump in on something you guys said a little bit earlier first. And say this. Me personally, I haven't really jumped into heavy duty lifting and things like that. I lift a little bit, but really my primary source of exercise has been this walking, both for physical and mental health. And I found it does a lot for me. But really what I'm trying to promote here with this group is that good for you guys for going to taking the extent that you have. And now I'm a little jealous, and I'm probably going to start doing more of that now that I'm looking at you. But you don't have to either. Like, you can really accomplish a lot just by making sure you put in your steps every single day. You can accomplish. Well, I lost 100 pounds just by walking, so that can happen, and that's really a message I wanted to get out.
Sure.
And then now, tell me your question again.
How has it affected your leadership?
Well, I like I said earlier, I think I have become less intense, less stress, more present with my people. And everybody has noticed it, the kind of the talk around, really the talk around my businesses and a lot of the industry is that, I really have changed and kind of softened up and became a, you know, for lack of a better term, more attractive leader, more influential leader. Before, like you said, yeah, I was 300 pounds, I'm 6'3", so 300 pounds, 6'3", I was a Mack truck walking at full speed and getting what I needed to get done. I was an intimidating guy. Uh, but that does not connect well with everybody. I think now my team is proud of me, and I show up as a better person. So all in all, I think I've turned out to be a much better leader because of it. And I'm mindful of that now, that when I really want to come to a meeting, when I really want to make sure that I'm present and on top of it and sharp for a meeting, and let's say it's an early morning meeting, 7, 8 a.m., I still get up early enough to try to push out at least 3 miles, maybe 5 miles before I go. And that really prepares me to be my best self at a meeting. So all in all, I think it's made me a much better leader, and certainly a far better example to my people. And like you said, so many people in my organization have adopted change just watching me do it. I never forced it upon them, but there's a whole number of my team out working out, walking, the whole thing.
Well, I was big so long. It shocked them. I mean, any time today somebody sticks with something and actually makes it happen, and you share your goal and you actually hit the goal, it inspires everybody, because very few people stick with it today. Tommy, how about you? How's it affected your leadership?
Yeah, I've just been super focused, man. My CFO, I found out, had a conversation with a bunch of the leaders of the company, and he said, "What's going on with Tommy? Like, he is on it, like on it. He's remembering everything. He's all in. But the difference is, I'm super focused. I'm not spazzing out. I'm remembering things. I'm not clouded anymore. And now my COO has got a trainer, and he's literally we're at dinner the other night at my house, and he takes a picture in his app to measure everything, right? And my fitness pal. And so he's getting in great shape. And then we had a contest, a $10,000 contest, and we, as a company, we lost 1,000 pounds.
Wow,
And
that's powerful.
people are actually like self-respecting themselves. Like it is massive change. But really, if I had to tell you, like, yes, vanity, I enjoy being in shape. I want to have an 8-pack. Like, I want my abs to be the best on the planet. But more importantly, I will say, like, this mental health, the concept of just being focused, people could see I smile more. I get up. I've never been a morning person ever. And now I'm a morning person. And that's just the greatest thing on the planet. I go to bed early. I'm in bed at 9:30 now. I used to not go to bed till midnight. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm like, people are like, what's going to happen after your event? I'm like, well, then I got a new date going to Bora Bora. Well, what happens after that? Then I got a really big goal for the Pinnacle trip with a bunch of our top people here at the company. And then I'm going to set a new goal, but it's got to be around dates. It's got to be around an event. I'm not going to just, a guy like me, I have to have something I'm chasing.
And let me speak to that. Let me jump in on that particular one. So in the walking group, the first step with Ken Goodrich group yesterday, Ryan Fenn from Chirp, he posts, one of his meals, right? Some ground beef stuff and this and that, right?
Honey or something.
Yeah, and he's made a lot of headway too. Tommy, you've really influenced that guy, and
Yeah.
he's making some real great progress, right? And I said, look, the challenge that you're going to run into on this whole journey is that you set a goal, and we all are pretty good. Once you kind of get in the groove of that goal, it's you're chipping away every single day progress, and it gets addicting. And we're all kind of, we're driven people. We want to win. We get onto something, we don't stop, right? And it's easy for us to, once we get our mind conditioned to do it, we'll go do it, right? That's our nature. That's why we
Absolutely.
do why we're entrepreneurs and do what we do. That said, I said, now, once you hit the goal, the tendency of all human beings is to slack off a little bit and treat yourself and kind of go back to some old habits. And after a couple of those treats, it starts working on your psyche, and you start kind of for me anyway, let me just use me. I don't want to be generalizing, but for me, it starts working on my psyche as I start cheating a little bit or treating, and I makes you feel bad, which kind of takes you into spiral to take another treat, and then the bad habits start to creep back in. And then that's when this whole yo-yo thing starts. And you get a little out of bounds, and then you got to bring it back in. A little out of bounds, you bring back in. And I said, here's the piece that I came for this. And I've been fighting this my whole life. But the piece that I came with it is I just said, look, this cannot be this is not a short-term goal. This is a lifestyle. The goal has to be, I'm going to be in shape till the day I die. When I'm laying in the hospital bed or the hospice bed or laying in my bed with my last days of life, I want to be the fittest guy, dying guy, right? I want to be the best even at that place. And if you kind of get that mindset adopted, it will last. But the sprint, what I've learned is, is the first step to going backwards. So it's not a sprint, it's a journey. Set the goal as long as possible. I'm going to be in shape and you can get as detailed as you want. Like Tommy just said, he wants to be below 10%. I'm going to be below 10% body fat, you know, make a definition of that till I'm 70, 80, or till I pass away, or whatever the case is. I'm going to have guns until the day I die.
There you go. I just want to touch upon sleep. I didn't realize sleep was so important because I bought into the less sleep, tougher guy type thing. I only slept 3.5 hours last night. I would say that I only got 3.5 hours sleep, and I thought it was cool. But it caught up with me, and I actually passed out, and I've never passed out in my life. Went to the hospital and had some tests, and it came down to lack of sleep. It wasn't my diet. My diet was great. I wanted to touch upon that too. I mean, I've learned, have you guys learned more about food doing this? I mean, I found out that one of the largest food distributors is Philip Morris. When cigarettes took a hit, Philip Morris bought huge amounts of food and put their scientists and best chemists on it. And that's why food is so addicting and why everybody's getting fat and having cancer and everything else. And just eating different, watching what we eat. I only eat artesian grain bread now when I do eat bread. And there's just a lot of little things. How do you guys feel about that as far as sleep and food? Tommy, you said you sleep more now, which is good because actually we need more sleep than what we think.
That's the hardest thing for me. I'm averaging about 6.5 to 7 hours. I'm trying to get to every night 8. The food is horrible. And I'll tell you, the reason why people in Italy live so long is they eat, they still drink wine, but they walk and they farm and they got these fresh foods all the time. And our food is so bad in the United States. It's so bad. The FDA is not working for our health. I'll tell you that. So I started buying organic, and unlike most people, I really had this concept of intermittent fast. And it's great for a lot of people, but I'm working out hard, long, like I'm going at it. I'm doing 20,000 steps a day. So for me, my doctor said eat as much red meat, as much steak as you can. And he said, don't worry about cholesterol. Have as many eggs as you can. And he said, eat when you're hungry. You should be eating 300 grams of protein a day. So I want you drinking 3 shakes and 5 meals. And I eat. And when I started eating, man, I started getting strong. I started sleeping better. I started feeling better. And what I can tell people is every single person's different. And every single person needs a different prescription. For me, it was eating more. It was me eating a lot more often. It was starting to love water. It was getting away from energy drinks. It was 0 alcohol. And I'm not saying I'm not going to drink again in the future, but it's like Ken said, you got to figure out if you could get a balance. And it was a lot more than that too. I mean, I don't have energy drinks. I don't have soda anymore. So like these little things, I'll have a glass of coffee, a cup of coffee 3 times a week. But yeah, I mean, the food's garbage, and sleep. When I'm not sleeping, I make bad decisions. I can tell you that. My willpower is shitty when I'm not getting 7 hours of sleep.
How about you, Ken? How do you sleep?
Kind of much like Tommy described. Again, I was always a midnight to 2 a.m. kind of go to bed guy, in which I did a lot of my best thinking. I'd have my laptop and that's when I'd really be on in terms of my innovations in business and stuff. I was quiet and it was focused. So that's when I did it. Sending emails out to my team at 12:30, which, I was notorious for. But
At least it wasn't.
now, yeah, I'm kind of like Tommy. I try to get to bed by 9:30. And here's the interesting thing, especially when you're really focused on tracking your weight and or your body composition, is you can clearly see when you have a good night's sleep versus a bad night's sleep, your weight stays up. Like if you're on a cut, you know, you want to cut some weight and you're, you know, taking off whatever, quarter pound a day or half a pound or something. Not one bad night, you could be up a pound. So it does all kinds of negative things to you. So
Yep.
sleep is very important. It's a challenge for me though, because like I said, like, you know, I really kind of get in my own personal zone late at night and where I'm do my best thinking. So, and to Tommy's point too, every time I stay up though, man, it's like the refrigerator's calling me all night long, and you know, you're looking for a snack or something like that. Now, I've got to the place where the only thing in there is healthy stuff, some vegetables or some lean protein or something, but it's still. And then if you eat at night, that affects your sleep as well. So I'm with you. Sleep is extremely important. It's the big equation and probably the biggest part of the equation and the most neglected.
Yeah. And I'm the opposite. I've always been a morning person. So I have to be in bed between 9 and 10. I'm done. But I've always been up. Like right now, I work out. You know, I told you, I mean, I go all out. And the 10-step process for me was also hiring Larry Pacifico, which was a 9-time world heavy powerlifting champion. He held 54 records in the United States. He held 54 world records. He holds one today. I asked him, I took him out for a steak dinner the other day. And I said, Larry, how many records do you still hold? And he's 79 years old. And he said, one. He said he pulled it up and it's him. It's like, I don't know, 800 pounds, him and this woman deadlifting. And they still hold that record. And that's the only record he holds. But the guy was the best of the best. And he had our attitude, how he went after powerlifting to be 9-time world champion. He said the only reason I wasn't a 10 is I tore my shoulder. But I still tried. So you just go all out. And on the 10-step process, I tell people all the time, you don't have to do all 10. If you just do 2, you'll lose weight. But I had to do intermittent fasting because when I started weighing 314 pounds, I was so sore and so bloated. My ankles were swelled up. I couldn't exercise. So I lost 30 pounds in 2 months, just intermittent fasting. So like what you guys said, everybody's different. And we're out of time here, but let's hit the audience here. If they're out of shape and you really have to be in the mode. I mean, nobody could talk you guys into really getting in shape all these years. You had to come to the conclusion, I've got to get healthier. So these guys are out here and they're 50 to 100 pounds, maybe more out of shape, overweight. What kind of advice would you give them today? And what would you say to them if they were saying, I want to lose weight, but I just don't know where to start?
Tommy?
I'll go quick. You know, here's the deal. I'd say you're worth it. You deserve it. You know, the first thing I would ask yourself is, do you love yourself? Do you think you're worth it? Do you think you're worth to have a body that you don't get embarrassed to go to a barbecue and take your shirt off? You've got pride in yourself. Because I think you're worth it. I would go get a DEXA scan. And I would say, where is my fat? Is it in my arms, my stomach, my butt, whatever it is? What's my visceral fat? Then I would find a few people that want to do it with me that I like and trust that I'll actually go all in. And then I would go in Ken's group, I'd go in my group, and I'd post everybody what I'm going to do. I'd create a lot of accountability. And I think it starts with the DEXA scan and then building a plan. I would go build a plan. And people will spend a lot of money on a lot of things. Why not get a trainer? You know, why not create accountability? Why not get a nutritionist, pay $300 a month for 3 months and get a plan? And I promise you this, if you can stick to it for 120 days, it'll change your life and it'll change your family's life. And it'll change your business's life. Change the direction of everything.
Amen to that. Ken?
So, if you're like me, I have struggled with my weight most of my life. I go through periods of this where I'm really in good shape and, looking my best to, going the other way and not so much. So the things I learned from that is, I learned myself and I learned that, okay, when I'd go all in and I'd try to bite off too much change at one time, it didn't work. It only lasted for a few days or a short period of time. So in this particular case, this last journey, which has been the longest one I've ever been able to maintain, which is, 4 years now, and my goal is to maintain it till the day I die. Um, I just said, okay, what is something I can do that I can commit to that I will do? And, you know, walking was the easiest thing for me to do. So, hey, can I commit to doing a little walk every single day? And I started walking 1 mile. To give you some perspective, yesterday I walked 8 miles, but I started walking 1 mile. Maybe I started walking around the block and then I kind of got up to 1 mile, with something like that. And over time, again, given us goal oriented driven individuals, I start up in the game every day or every week or something. I'm going to push to this. Now I'm going to push to that. And then I kind of got in the groove of that. And I started liking how I was feeling by walking. And, it became addictive. And as soon as that happened, then I start building on the diet. Well, hey, maybe I can cut down on the calories and maybe watch, kind of stick to a more Mediterranean diet, some greens and lean protein, right? And so I started going that route and it started coming off faster. And I just kind of took it as steps like that. But the overarching theme of what I did here was I picked something that I knew I could do. It wasn't painful, didn't require me to get up at 4 a.m. It didn't cause a big disruption in my current life. It was just a slight change, and subtle changes over time, small subtle changes over time create huge results. So that's what I did. And then, there's a lot of people in this same group that's great group we created that have had similar experiences. They just knew me from the industry. They said, okay, I'll try it too. They started walking. Uh, we had a gentleman out of Seattle recently who he started this thing and he said, okay, well, he watched me finish my goal last year of walking. I had 1,000-mile goal. I ended up at 1,101 miles, and I had finished it on the December 31st last year. And I did a post about it. And so he kind of got inspired, said, okay, I'm going to walk 1,000 miles. Well, he started walking every single day. And then after a few weeks, he started noticing his body change a little bit. And then after a month or so, he started losing some weight. And then he stopped drinking. He started walking with his family. You know, everything started to come together for him, just committing to the walk. No, no heavy duty diet change, working out change, do anything else. And the guy ended up hitting his 1,000-mile goal by August 1st
Wow.
this year. Um, and he's lost over 30 pounds. And so I invited him out to my place in Lake Tahoe to walk his last miles for his 1,000 miles with me. And a couple other guys came from the group to celebrate it with him. And he brought his wife, and his wife saying, you completely changed his life. He got interested in this walking thing with you, and he did it. He's lost a bunch of weight. He looks like a completely different person. He stopped drinking. He was staying out late at night. He's present with the family. The kids are walking with him, and she had tears in her eyes, thanking me for um, influencing him in a positive direction. But the point being is it's a really simple start. You don't have to go to the extent that you guys have gone to. I admire what you've done, and now I'm going to get back in the gym looking at you both. But but you don't have to. And so, my just to finish up the theme of what I'm saying is, it all starts with a little extra effort.
That's
Just
right.
start a little extra effort and grow upon that.
Okay, we're going to wrap up here. Anything else you guys want to add? I got a couple things to encourage our viewers and listeners with from this. Tommy, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Well, there's just one thing we haven't hit, and I think supplements are important. I'm on creatine. I'm on certain types of protein. I'm on several peptides. I'm on TRT, which is basically, it's a misconception that it's like steroids and it's anabolic or something. All I wanted to do was get my body to what it was doing when it was 20 years old. So I sit around 900 to 1,000, right? My testosterone levels. And people are like, well, that's why it's TRT. And I'm like, no, it's not, because I've been on TRT for 7 years.
Exactly.
You still got to do the work. But listen, by not drinking and getting on the right supplements and the NAD and the right peptides, I do have more energy. So you're right. If you want to look at it that way, it made me go back. I felt like going to the gym. I felt like going on an hour-long walk. I didn't feel like getting out of bed before. I just, my body hurt. I just didn't feel good. So, there's so much that goes on within women and men with their, women have estrogen. They've got thyroids. There's a lot of stuff that happens within the woman's body and a man's body. So I think you should go get tested. It's not like you're on an anabolic cycle. You stay on this testosterone. If your body's not making it, it causes depression. It causes mood swings. You sleep all funky. You mix alcohol in there, it's really bad. So I would say just figure out where you're at and talk to a really good doctor. And it's not your normal family physician.
Right.
It's somebody that specializes in this.
Yeah, I've got a hormone doctor that I've had for a couple of years, but I was also on testosterone for years while I gained weight. So, testosterone today, it affects me a little bit differently now that I'm lean and in good shape, and I like it. But I want to tell our viewers that to stay strong, stay positive, because I averaged 11 pounds a month loss. That might be high, that might be average, I don't know. But there was a month in there that I only lost 2 pounds. And I was doing the exact same thing. I was eating the exact same way. And a lot of people would have threw in the towel. I mean, when you only lose 2 pounds in a whole month. But I just continued to stick with it. And sure enough, I lost another 5, lost another 3, lost another 6, whatever. Sometimes your body just is holding on to weight for a certain reason. Maybe it needs to, but don't get discouraged and stay strong. Keep doing what you're supposed to do. And also, James Clear from Atomic Habits said something like Ken said, do a little bit at a time. First of all, just drive to the gym one morning. If you don't go to the gym and you want to start going to the gym, or if you want to start walking, just walk 100 feet and turn around and come back home. But just get used to doing that time and time again, and just add to it and add to it and add to it. Stay in the gym 5 minutes, then stay in 10 and 15, 20, 25, 30. Pretty soon it becomes a habit. And I don't know about you guys, but I wake up and I can't wait to either walk, do elliptical, or work out. One of those 3. And I can't wait to eat lunch because I still intermittent fast on the days I don't work out. And, I just can't wait to drink my 80 grams of protein shake or eat my 30-gram protein bar. And those things are out there. You just got to look for them with less than 1 gram of sugar, by the way. Ken, anything else you want to throw in before we wrap up?
No, I think we nailed it, guys. But it goes like this for everybody listening, because I'm sure we're all business people listening here, is that, the most important thing you can do for yourself as a business leader is to take care of yourself so you can be ready to lead, that you can give all of yourself into the leadership role and not show up halfway. It's going to take everything you have to build a successful business, and certainly a business that's much more valuable than its revenues and 1 year of profit. So do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, and your team a favor, and spend some time on yourself, even if it's just banging out a 3-mile walk every day.
Right. Good stuff. Well, hey, Ken, Tommy, thanks for coming on the Greg McAfee Show. And I hope what I hope out of this is that we can change the way people think and inspire them to want to get back into shape or get in better shape and start eating better. Watch what we're eating. There's just so much crap out there that makes us fat naturally. And so thanks for coming on, you guys, and have a great Monday.
You too. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Guys.
See you later.
See you guys. Thanks.
See ya.
Well, that's it for today's episode. A huge thanks to Ken Goodrich and Tommy Mello for being on the Greg McAfee Show and sharing their personal health and fitness journeys. Remember, taking care of our body is very important. It's just as important as running a successful business. I hope you found today's conversation as inspiring as I did. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.